Hi guys, this is Annie. I hope you all are doing great tonight. Tonight I'm stepping out a little bit off of my comfort zone, and instead of stamping, I'd have decided to use vinyls on this manicure. And this is a combination manicure, as you can see. It is going to be using vinyls as well as pigments and also a little bit of matte coloring in there. So let's go ahead and get started with this manicure. And these are the items that we will be using in this manicure. I have some acetone, a cleanup brush, a pair of scissors, a pair of tweezers, the two colors that I'll be using in this manicure. I have some Gelous top coat, some water-based top coat, as well as a big matte top coat. I also have to the bottom here some pigments, which is the holo pigments. I have a little cleaner brush for that pigments, as well as two little rhinestones and my nail vinyl. So that's it. So now that we have everything ready, let's begin. All right, my sweethearts. So I have already gone ahead and get a head start as usual because I needed the polish to get dried thoroughly before we apply the vinyls and all the other good stuff. So just to let you know, the base colors I am using as well as for the nail vinyls is going to be, the dark color is by Wet n Wild number 217B and it's called Disturbia. That's a nice dark purple, almost like an eggplant purple. And I also use the Sally Hansen Inch to Dry Purple number 380, and this is called Reved Up, which is the lighter color. So the next thing we're going to do is get the vinyls ready and also have your top coat ready. I am actually using the Gelous top coat since we're going to be using nail pigments on this video. If you don't have this, you can also use the Sally Hansen Miracle Gel top coat or any type of gel top coat you have. And I am actually using these two top coats over regular nail polish, as you can see. So let's cut this in half because this is pretty big and I don't need to waste it. I'm going to cut this in half to do the two middle nail. This is the manicure. So basically what I did, in the dark color we have the lighter color flowers, on the light color we have the darker color nail polish with the flowers on there. And then we'll apply the pigments. So let's cut this in half and get those vinyls on your nails. And the key to doing this is get those vinyls on the nails very, very clean. In other words, you don't want them to have any bumps, you don't want to have any little bubbles because nail polish is going to get under that and that's gonna just really mess up the design of the flowers. Now I don't like to use the nail polish brush when I am applying the polish over the nail vinyls, so I'm actually going to use one of these little eyeshadow brushes and I'm going to tap it in like when you're doing a gradient. For me, I think that's a little bit better. I like that method a little bit better because if for some reason you have a bubble from the nail vinyl, if you have any little lifted parts and you go polishing, the polish gets all distorted and goes under that. So here I am applying the nail vinyl to the nail, just pressing down, making sure it's nice and flat and secure. And I'm going to do the same to that ring finger as well. And then we'll start applying the nail polish. And again, I'm just lining it up. Did the same thing, huh? I gotta flip this over. Get the sticky bottom on there. And I'm securing it again, as you could see. And that's it for applying the nail vinyls. Alright, making sure that that's there. Also have your little tweezer handy because you need to pull that up quickly. And I'm using the same two colors like I mentioned. So let's do the lighter nail first and the darker color. And again, we're just going to sponge this in as though you're doing a gradient. So I'll brush it right off the top, just a little. Do the first one here. And we'll come back and do a second coat of this before we peel that vinyl out. And then we'll get the lighter color for the darker nail. Do the same thing, just tap it right on. And this is a pretty easy manicure. The only thing is you just have to wait to have the two polishes dry, which is the Gelous polish. And here we go. We'll just tap this on. As you can see, the lighter color, this is why we have to do 2 coats, because the lighter color is very, very light on the darker color. So I'll come back and do another one of that right away and let that dry as we're doing the second coat on the darker nail. So if you want to do your whole hand in this type of vinyl, you can just go back, you know, like do this one first, then do this nail, then go back and sponge over that one if you choose to use the sponging. I definitely like the sponging over the brushing on the vinyls because I think it comes out a little more softer look, cleaner as well, easier to do. And like I said, if you have bubbles on there, when you're tapping it down, the nail polish doesn't really get underneath the bubble as if you were using a brush, scraping it on like this and brushing it up. So I do prefer to use the sponge. So here we go. Just remove this one since this is complete. Peel it off gently. And that's done. And let's move on to the next. But before we do that, I am going to apply the Gelous top coat on it immediately because this is really thick and we need this to dry. So like I mentioned, if you don't have this, just grab some type of a gel top coat because that's what's going to let the pigments adhere to it. You cannot use a regular top coat on the pigments. It will not work. So here we go. I'm going to use this, and this is nice and thick, so I'm going to use one nice layer and brush that on immediately on the nail. And then we'll do the same for the second nail. So it's nice and thick, and it's the same thing like when you're stamping. Try not to press on it to ruin that little image on there. And let's go back and do one coat of the purple, remove it, and apply the Gelous top coat. So the manicure itself is a little easier than I thought that it'll be, but the only thing, it's a little more time consuming. So there's the second coat. Let's remove this final here. That one ripped in the middle, so I just have to be, there we go, very careful and remove it. And I'll let and now we'll apply the Gelous top coat again and let those dry. We need those a little bit more than tap dry, but it doesn't have to be thoroughly dry to apply the pigments. I noticed to apply the pigments when it's a little bit tap dry, again a little more than tap dry I should say, that the pigments tend to stay better on it. But when you're scrubbing it in, you have to scrub very lightly on there because you don't want to shift the nail polish around. And also when you're applying the gel coat, make sure it's a nice smooth coat that goes in, no lines, because that's what's going to come through when you apply the pigments on that. So now we have to let this dry for just a couple minutes. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and decorate the pinky nail as well as the index nail, and that's pretty simple. For that one, grab your matte nail polish, which is here, and I have my 2 little jewel, and I have my wax pencil here that I love so much to pick these jewels up. And of course, if you don't have one of these, grab yourself a pair of tweezers. So the first thing I'm going to do is apply the matte top coat once, stick the jewel on there, and then apply over it again. And it's the same method that I use for the darker color. I'm putting the lighter jewel. For the lighter color, I'm putting the darker jewel on there. So let's do that. And hopefully by the time we're done that, we can go ahead and apply the pigments. My first layer of the matte top coat, and that's from Sally Hansen. It's called the Big Matte Top Coat. The lighter color jewel right in the middle. And we'll come back to that. And soon you'll see the matte effect coming in on that. It takes a little while, but it comes in very nicely. Then we do the same for the index finger, right in the middle. And now I'm going to go back over those same nails. As you could see, this one's already taken a matte effect on there, and I love that look. Go back over it with the jewel as well, because I want to get that shine off the jewel. So the matte polish definitely takes that off, as you will see. And I'm also doing it over the jewel to lock it in. Of course, you don't have to do it over the jewel. You could leave the shine on the little jewel if you choose to. But I just like the way it looks with both the little gems on there, the jewels matte as well. And I'll do the same for this one here. And as you can see, I'm being very generous because I want to lock that jewel in there. Do not want that to come off. I'm actually going to do it again over this nail. And we'll let that dry as well. Now let me just check and see if we're ready to go ahead and apply the pigments on there. And it's a little bit too sticky yet. So let me wait it out and I'll be right back when it's ready. Alright, my loves. So now that my nail is tap dry, and again, you want it tap dry but not very sticky. Just a little sticky on there, okay? And I am using the Purple Born Pretty holo pigments. It's not totally mirror, it's actually hollow if you look at it carefully. And that's what we're going to apply now. And you just continue applying it like you would do, you know, in any other video or as the video shows you to apply it. Basically, we're just going to grab the pigments right off on one of those little makeup brushes. And the way I like to do it, as a matter of fact, is tap it on. Usually they scrub it in right away. I'm going to tap it on first because, like I said, it's tap dry. And if I try to scrub it on right away, it's just going to mess that nail polish right up. So, and the only reason I keep it tap dry is because I think it holds more of the glitter when it's tap dry. When it's not tap dry, you really have to use a lot of the pigments in there. So I found out that this way it actually saves a little more of, you know, not using your product, which is the pigments, too much. And at this point where it's totally covered, that's where I go in and gently scrub it in. So as you can see now, it's getting smooth. You could see the image underneath a little better because it's being scrubbed in. It's being placed correctly in the nail polish. Once the excess is in the nail polish, now there it is. That one is completely done already. We just have to apply the top coat. We go ahead and get your little brush and then remove the flyaways, so to speak. And that's it. Simple as that. That one is done. And there you could see the difference of the shine on the nail itself. So that's the holo effect on that one. So let's do the same with this one before it gets too dry. Alright, my love, so there it is, the holo pigments on the floral base. So if you do want a review of how to apply these pigments on regular nail polish, I do have a video out there. It's called How to Apply and Remove Pigments from Regular Nail Polish. So you could check that out for further details because I did use regular nail polish on these nails, just to remind you of that. Now once that's done, you have to go ahead and apply a top coat. Now unfortunately you cannot apply a fast drying top coat on this. The pigment is going to break up and it's just going to look like glitter instead of giving you that nice holo effect. And for the top coat you will need the water-based top coat for this if you're using the regular nail polish. Alright, and we're just going to swipe a nice thin coat of that over the nails and let that dry completely. And as you can see, as I'm applying the water-based top coat, it doesn't have any negative effects on the pigments because that's what is a big deal on this. If you want to use regular polish, you have to get the correct top coat to seal it off properly and not affect the pigments. And that's pretty much the manicure. Take a closer look at the pictures for details, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so here it is. This is the final manicure, and this one took a little bit more work, but I do hope you liked it. And if you have any questions, always feel free to write to me. I will answer them as best as I can and as fast as I can. And don't forget to subscribe for my upcoming latest videos as well. And thank you all so very much for popping by and watching my video. I do appreciate it. And have a good night, everyone. Bye now.